And we'll take one more if anyone wants to share a moment. And otherwise, okay. And I just want to say again to speak from your own experience of the film and not to respond to what anyone else has said, powerful as it's been.
Just the scene in which the father, who had the rather neatly pressed T-shirt, working in the field with his son, and the interchange with the son clearly saying, "I'm out of here. This is no place to remain," was just a simple, direct indication of how, in fact, an oppressive policy can be effective in the long term.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for doing something unconventional in the post-film talkbacks. So I want to turn now to Irit and Ivan. Am I saying your names right? Yes. And would love for you to tell us more about the story behind the story. How did you, what inspired you to tell this story and to create this film? And how did you choose the specific subjects, Abu Saker and the others, once you decided on the idea?
Okay, you have asked two questions, so
Yes.
I'll answer the first one. What inspired us to do the film? I belong to an organization, a women's organization called Checkpoint Watch. It consists of a couple hundreds of women, Israeli women. We are all volunteers. And for the past 12 years, we have been going out, since 2001, we have been going out to the checkpoints in the West Bank and those in the border with Israel, which are the very few. Most of the checkpoints are inside the West Bank. Checkpoints can be anything. You saw here, it was not a checkpoint as such. It was a barrier that doesn't allow cars to move freely. We are monitoring the freedom of movement. We're monitoring military courts. And one of our members, Daphna, you saw it in the film, she goes specially to the Jordan Valley, and she brought to our attention the fact that what happens there is seen by no one. It is a very isolated, very far away area, and that we had to tell the story of what goes on there. And at that point, the movement, Mahsom Watch, Checkpoint Watch, we decided to make a film about it. This was the best way to show what's going on. And we fortunately found Irit Gal to be the director and to decide what to do with this material. And she brought along her son, the photographer, who is a wonderful photographer. And that's what inspired the film. How she chose, who she chose, it's up to her to say.
Okay, so Yvonne and I, both of us political activists, and I thought before I start working on this film that I know what happened in West Bank and about the occupation, the Israeli occupation, but I never knew what happened in the Jordan Valley, and I think that most of the Israeli doesn't know about the Jordan Valley because there is no intifada, no suicide bombers from there, because they all farmer and they can't organize together because this issue, they're not living together, you know. So everybody in Israel was so sure that everything in the Jordan Valley, it's okay. And when I started to work in this film, I was shocked to see how the Israeli actually, we know that they steal the land, but there they steal also the water. And farmers without water, we know they have no reason to stay there. And a lot of Palestinians leave the Jordan Valley because of that.
Yes, what we have seen, the Jordan Valley consists of 1/3 of the whole of the occupied West Bank. The purpose of all these measures that you saw, destroying the homes, preventing water, preventing movement, is to evict the people from the place. The Palestinians know this. They say that They say so in the film. They understand this. The purpose is to leave all this area, all the area of the Jordan Valley without population, and to convert it, as they say, into a military zone. Netanyahu in 2010 was quoted by the Washington Post, by the Huffington Post, and by Haaretz as saying that he achieved an agreement with the Americans that every land that will be denominated military zone will not be given back to the Palestinians. And he says, and now we are nominating all the Jordan Valley military zone, so we will not give it back. This will effectively make all the area of the Jordan Valley a large barrier between Jordan and the West Bank. And that's the big picture. That's the purpose of all these measures in order to evict the population.
So it sounds like one of the impacts that you hoped to have was to raise up this invisible or hidden story of what B'Tselem in another context has called a quiet deportation, right? Can you tell us more about the change that you hope to create with the film, the impacts that you sought to have? And I'll ask you, again, 2 questions in one. The audiences that you've sought to reach and what your outreach strategy has been.
Okay. Well, our first target population is the Israeli population. The Israelis don't know that the Jordan Valley is occupied territory. The Jordan Valley is conceived as part of Israel. The Israelis believe that there's no settlements there. There are kibbutz. Kibbutz is a very nice word. Settlement is loaded with negative emotions, but kibbutz is nice. And they say these are kibbutzim, they are not settlements. So we wanted very much to bring to the awareness of the Israeli public what's going on there and why, the big picture, why this is happening. It is difficult to get to the Israeli public, and it will say more about our difficulties getting into the media.
Yeah, so as Yvonne said, it's first of all, it's for this film need to Israeli watch the film, and there is no yet. We try to get the film to the channel 10 and channel 8 and to the Israeli television, and nobody won the film yet. But something very surprising happened. We screened the film in the Cinematheque all over the Israel, in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem and Haifa and Sderot and Herzliya and everywhere. And we thought that everybody tired from the occupation. And it was a very big surprise that a lot of people come to watch the film, and even we have one screening that there is no place enough for everybody, and it's give us a hope. Yeah.
Wonderful. And Kate, so J Street decided to sponsor this film. Can you tell us more about why J Street chose this particular film?
Sure. So first, I have to thank, there was a group of supporters, J Street supporters, who really, many of them are sitting in this audience over here, and they really went through a number of films offered by the Other Israel Film Festival, and they selected this specific film. And J Street, as many of you here in the audience do know, we advocate for the two-state solution. We believe that it's in Israel's interest and that Israel's future as a Jewish and democratic state is intertwined with that of the Palestinians and needs to live in security and peace with a viable Palestinian state. And so what's interesting is water, and when we think of the word viable, and what does that mean in terms of a Palestinian state. And for me, just seeing this film, it was really about the human aspect. We often work on a macro level, and we talk about the negotiations that are happening right now. One of the stickiest issues being borders, and how that's going to look, and what that means. And J Street, we believe that the basis for negotiations will be the 1967 lines with land swaps. But again, most people don't think about the Jordan Valley. And so it just really shows how complex these issues are, that there are going to have to be tough choices made. There's going to have to be compromise made. And, this really sort of provided a human face to what we work on a daily basis, trying to support right now the administration's efforts with the negotiations.
Okay, we want to open it up to all of you. And I think we'll take 2 at a time, since they've done a great job of fielding more than one question, and we have a limited time for our Q&A. And you can choose if you answer both or one or the other.
I'll start by adding a question and just asking about within Israel. I know it's screened at the Jerusalem Film Festival and was well received there. Did you have any pushback from making this the funding as far as the Israeli government, and have you felt any kind of level of pushback from this film?
Resistance. Resistance or opposition is a good.
Opposition to the film?
Sure.
Oh,
Nikud.
Well, it is, as we started saying before, it's difficult to bring this message to the Israeli public. People who are with more or less eager to see, they say, well, we don't know, this is opening our eyes. People who are not in the left side of the political map, but are more on the right, they say, these are all lies. You paid the people. They don't own the homes. The Palestinian Authority pays them to be there. So, and it's the water situation is the opposite. So it is difficult to get past this barrier, ideological barrier.
I'll just add on to it that I saw 3 people, tonight. We have a wonderful audience here and all of you are saints, but 3 people or so left in the middle coming out yelling some
Why is that?
racist comments saying that it's a film for Arabs only and not positive things about Arabs. And I'm wondering if that's something that's that you feel that you could work on. And this actually, Kate, this goes to you too, as far as what kind of audiences you're looking to reach with this film, and where you've been successful by reaching beyond the insiders who I think are somewhat going to embrace the film.
A lot of people ask us why there is no settlers in the film, why we didn't go and speak with them and get their size. And maybe it's an answer for the 3 people who left, I don't know. But we decide not to go inside the settler, because in Israel we heard them all the time. They speak in the Knesset, they spoke in the news, they spoke in the television program. We heard them all the time, and we didn't hear the Palestinian. That's why the camera never go into the settlers. And in the settler there is a swimming pool and very nice picture for us, but it's always the Palestinian point of view. What they saw, the camera saw. So did they tell you why they left? Because it's too much against Israel?
I think they felt it was one-sided from their perspective.
Yeah. That's okay.
Who else has questions who hasn't spoken yet? Yes.